There's a big conference of the Republican Party, pardon me, here in town, underway for the purpose of rebranding the Republican Party and reaching out to those groups of Americans that they seem to have lost support from. Young people, African Americans, Asian Americans, Latinos, and women.
Pretty much everybody except old, angry white men.
Exactly, right. So yesterday they said, let's bring somebody in to help us understand what women are all about and reach out to women and with a whole new message that's going to rebrand our party. And they chose Mike Huckabee, of all people. And here's what Mike Huckabee sort of indicated. Here's what I think about women at any rate.
And if the Democrats want to insult the women of America by making them believe that they are helpless without Uncle Sugar coming in and providing for them a prescription each month for birth control because they cannot control their libido or their reproductive system without the help of the government, then so be it. Let us take that discussion all across America because women are far more than the Democrats have played them to be.
So what Mike Huckabee is saying, that women, the only reason for birth control is because these women can't control sex-crazed women can't control their own libido, and they can't control their own reproductive rights, and that's why they want birth control.
From Uncle Sugar.
From Uncle Sugar. And
who the hell is Uncle Sugar?
I think he was supposed to be he was talking about the government sugar daddy. He got confused.
So is this the future message of the Republican Party? Katie Glueck is covering this issue for Politico, joining us on our newsline this morning. Hey, Katie, you got everything under control there this morning?
Hi. Well, yes, I was there actually yesterday when Governor Huckabee made those comments.
Oh, you were?
Yes, I was. Definitely. Fair to say it raised some eyebrows.
What was the reaction in the room? Did anybody realize, oh, this may not be the best message?
There wasn't necessarily a particularly visible or vocal reaction one way or the other, but, it definitely didn't take long for, some of those pretty charged words to get picked up on Twitter and on television and then throughout the rest of the afternoon, we definitely heard a lot of that and, people kind of talking about how that might end up playing out. I
mean, did people applaud when he said that women can't control their own libido and reproductive systems? And were there women in the audience?
Yeah, there were. I mean, he was speaking to a gathering of the Republican National Committee, which brought together national committee members from across the country. And, it's not necessarily that people were kind of getting up and cheering when he made that comment. But definitely it did appear that those were some of the comments that beyond the room ended up having some staying power.
Mm-hmm.
And Katie, this is Eric. I'm curious. Did Mike Huckabee was brought in to speak about this issue specifically by the RNC folks?
Well, he actually gave a much more wide-ranging speech than just these comments. But he was the luncheon keynote address provider, and so he touched on a lot of issues ranging from the economy to Iran to this question of the war on women, and this was something that he got to pretty early in this speech, and of course, he put it forth in certainly a unique way.
It seems to me, Eric, I don't know how you would question that if you want to speak to the role of women in this country, you get a Southern Baptist preacher, because we know what their attitude about women is and always has been.
As the former Republican, the former GOP operative, who came to the light side and into the goodness and light. I'm not surprised by this because there's just a fundamental disconnect, with the folks that run the Republican Party, and this happens over and over and over again.
So, Katie, what does the chairman have there been any official comments from the leadership of the party? Do they endorse what Mike Huckabee said?
Again, I think that these seem to be comments that were more kind of specifically coming from him rather than, necessarily the party as a whole. But we certainly did see officials on the Democratic side picking up the comments, kind of weighing in, and, of course, we've kind of long had these tensions and, questions over whether there's a war on women, and, that's kind of been a sticking point for several elections now. And, it was just very interesting because it did end up seeming like he kind of pushed that issue. Well, he touched on the issue specifically himself, actually, because he kind of pushed back. He said Republicans don't have a war on women. We try and think about.
Yeah, but I know. But what did my question is? I know what Democrats have said about it. I know what I've said about it. What did Reince Priebus say about it? You know, what did John Boehner say? What did Mitch McConnell say?
The leadership of the Republican Party.
Right.
Right. Well, I don't know that they were necessarily weighing in as visibly on this issue. But I guess more broadly, it was interesting because, of course, as you noted, the RNC has made, an effort to kind of try and broaden that base. And, Huckabee actually at other times in his speech did actually talk about his own vision for trying to do that. But, of course, it was certainly these comments that ended up kind of breaking through all of that.
Well, I would say if this is his vision for expanding the base, welcome to the Republican Party of 1950.